Hello and welcome to the second Tower Wizard podcast, our official podcast of Tower Wizard LLC, gaming slash now we're producing a podcast, so production studio. This is our special Thanksgiving episode, as is being recorded on Thanksgiving, as I'm halfway between the living world and a food coma or a turkey coma that's going to probably last for the next century. Um, this week we're featuring Bryson.
I'm here.
Jesus Christ, Bryson. All you need to say is hello. That's all you need to say. You just say hello.
Sorry, I
Your
got
whole
distracted. My
job
door
here,
started opening and I
your
got distracted.
whole job is to say hello. I introduce you, say hello, because you know what? That's what you do when you're introduced.
Hello.
There you go. Good job. Also featuring Kyle.
Hi.
See, that's how you do it. That's how you fucking do it. That's professionalism, Bryson. All right? Professionalism.
Okay.
You probably hear me scratching the shit on my arms with my super dry skin. And myself, the unholy amalgam of rage and self-loathing that is Justin Kovan. Because I am just a big pile of shit formed into a human being. This week's episode is brought to you by Bigby's Grasping Hand for when you're just too lazy to get up for a good groping, and Mirror Image for when you want to watch yourself fuck yourself with yourself. Yeah, that got real. That's the direction we're gonna go today.
Okay. I can work with that.
It's gonna be dark considering Black Friday started, 3 hours ago and fucking.
No, this is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, well, it started 3 hours ago because Walmart opened up at 6 p.m. Central.
Yes.
A lot of them
Black
actually start at
Friday.
5, which
Yeah.
would be that. Sorry.
Black Friday started this Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by next year, I'm pretty sure it's just gonna start. Black Friday will it'll start. I don't know, sometime Tuesday night. They're like Black Friday sales, and then you're gonna go out and trample someone for an Xbox on Tuesday night. They're just gonna get out of the way.
You know what? I'm actually just waiting for the day that Black Friday starts on Friday, the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then
Maybe,
suddenly, it'll be it'll be starting earlier and earlier. Pretty soon we'll have Black Friday on July.
I mean, we've already got that
Like-
kind of with Amazon. They're like Brack season. They've had late
Brack?
night sales and
fucking
stuff.
dude, I'd buy
Brack?
Brack season.
Not what I
yeah.
meant.
Brack
Amazon-
presents the Brack starring
No,
Brack
no.
show.
You
We're
could.
done with Black Friday now. Now I'm on Brack produced by fucking Amazon. That would be the most kick-ass thing ever. Like I didn't like Brack,
What?
Seriously?
but
Brack?
I like that'd be awesome.
Is Amazon totally doing a Brack thing?
No,
No.
Kyle, I think Tumblr's ruined
Why
the
did you-
context.
Because
No,
of
why did-
what I
why did
accidentally
you-
said.
Because
Yes, why did you say Brack?
Me? It was an accident.
Yes.
he said
Why-
it by accident
I'm
because he
saying
flubbed
black.
words because he gets too excited about speaking and his face can't hold all the words. It's like sometimes when he's typing and almost every time he types a word and every single word comes out a jumbled mess of letters that you have to literally sit down and create a cipher for. Every word has to have its own specific cipher, by the way,
I
because
know
every
it's
word
bad. I
is a
know.
different destruction of the English language. Sometimes he just does that out of his face because his brain just it goes in autopilot. It's like he's gonna fuck it up. Just push letters out. So he said Brack, Brack Friday on Amazon. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'd watch Brack Friday on Amazon. Be awesome. Bring back Brack. That's hard to say. Bring
Bring-
back Brack. Bring back
Bring
Brack.
back Brack.
I can't. I'm really tired.
I live in
Yeah.
a damn
What
job.
I was originally going to say,
Instead
instead of going out at 5 o'clock, you could just do what I did, and I just ordered everything at midnight and went to bed.
That's fair. I gotta order some RAM. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Literally, everything dropped at midnight yesterday, like before I went to sleep. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went to sleep.
So you're not gonna wait for Cyber Monday to buy some stuff?
No, I bought 2 games to play with Kyle and a
Yeah.
controller.
Yeah. 2 games with Kyle?
Yeah, so Amazon Prime is kind of ruining your patience, by the
Yes,
way.
it is, actually. That
you
is
are-
something I realized.
You are ruining. You are not. you are getting impatient for a package that I ordered for me.
That's
Yeah,
great.
Yes,
Yeah, the
yes, I
other
am
day.
getting impatient.
The other day, what did you say? You said something along the lines of when is it getting here? Or did you get a tracking number? I said, yeah. When is it getting here? On Monday. You're like, that's such a long time.
It's
Like,
because
dude,
to
it's
me on
5 days.
Amazon, to me
Wait,
on Amazon time it is.
what day did you order it?
He ordered it Sunday.
You get it
Yeah,
what, Tuesday?
no, I'm getting it Monday next week.
Wait,
So,
no,
He
seriously?
ordered it from Target.
yeah.
Oh, that's
This
why.
is a whole
Yeah.
other conversation of
Yeah, 'cause
Target,
no, like,
but
3 to 5 day shipping should ideally, depending on where you get it. There's shipping zones. Okay, so for anyone who is interested in logistics, cross country logistics, because it's something I'm very familiar with, there's shipping zones. They would have to be shipping that from overseas for it to take 5 days to get to you. Unless they're
Yeah.
shipping it through
well, everything stopped for
proprietary.
Black Friday.
No, not really.
I mean, not Black Friday, Thanksgiving.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but nah. Like, not really. Not really. Unless Target is shipping that proprietarily through their own shipping service, there's no way. Like, if you're getting it through UPS or FedEx, that should be like, unless it's coming from, like I said, overseas, shouldn't take 5 days. 3 to 5 business days really is ideally three business days. Because I mean, you ship from California. California is going to go to probably somewhere in the middle of the country, depending on where you're shipping from or who you're shipping with. Um, Probably going to go somewhere, basically in Texas, or somewhere else in the Midwest, and then it's going to drop off in Columbus, and then it's going to come up to you, or it'll drop off up in Toledo, and it's going to come down to you, and let's say it's FedEx, it'll come down to the Cleveland station, and it'll get delivered to you 3 business. It should only take 3 business days, 4 at the very latest if there's a delay. So
Who sent
So,
it again? I mean, who did they send it to?
UPS.
UPS. Yeah, and even UPS. Oh, UPS should be fast.
yeah, it's probably telling you estimated delivery time is Monday. This is really boring conversation, by the way. It's super boring. I'm glad we're leading off our podcast.
It's a
with this.
holiday.
We used to work at FedEx, by the
But
way.
yeah,
All three
here's
of
what
us
it
have.
said. Yeah. Here's what you said. Got a tracking number yet? I said, yeah. When does it look like it will get in? November 30th. Wow, that's a while. Like, no, it isn't. I said, I'm
It is to
spoiled,
me.
Kyle. Yes, for me it is. I said, 5 days, dude.
I buy everything on Amazon.
See,
Try
no, Bryson
Amazon Prime.
orders something on Amazon, and he's like, "Well, I should expect that in 3 hours via drone."
No, I don't expect it to be a drone.
Shrug. Amazon Prime ruins you. I said,
I
you're getting
expect it. If I order it on
impatient.
Monday, I expect it by Wednesday. Is what.
It was like, you're getting impatient over a
And
package I
for
ordered.
the
That's like
Xbox with
a
Prime,
new level of impatience.
I would have
I
actually
appreciate
paid
your
the
concern, though.
$4.
I mean, I get impatient over a lot of stuff that you do, Kyle.
Well, I don't care.
Okay, I'm glad you don't care.
It's because it's your
Um,
opinion,
Well,
and you live in Texas.
my opinion is law.
I'm just
as
kidding. Rooster Teeth is in
as
Texas.
it is in
So-
Texas. That's actually part of why I moved down here to Austin, is because I am a big fan of Rooster Teeth, and that I've learned a lot about the city through them, and I'm like, well, maybe I should apply for my job down here, and I could explore a city I've been interested in for a few years, and I came down here, and I haven't done any of that because I'm a sad little human being who just holes up in a cave and just buries himself under blankets and plays video games all day. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
So
That's
that kinda-
also where the setting of the worst Fallout game took place, but that's another story.
Oh
You
yeah,
and
yeah,
your
yeah.
Fallout games.
What?
You and your Fallout games.
I mean, we talked about this last week. Brother to Steel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took place in Texas.
So, which is
Anyways.
why it's so bass backwards, because this is in a lot of ways a bass backwards place. So one thing I want to talk about, given it's Thanksgiving today, I wanted to have a nice family friendly, happy conversation that I'm going to ruin entirely. Jesus, for the love of God, Kyle.
Kyle, you have
Didn't
to
we
remember
have-
your mics on the laptop.
How about now?
People have to listen to this,
That
right?
clip. Yes, but
Do you
I'm
think this will
hoping
get past
you'll.
approval?
No, I figured you would take it out. I was just trying
Eh.
to
I
annoy
mean,
you while we were
I
recording.
could have to edit it out. Yeah.
Bryson could do work, or he could just leave all of this in here because he's just like, I'll just encode it. We'll throw it up. No one gives a fuck. Bryson, he's become, he's become the middle-aged, sad, hardened person who just doesn't give any shits about life or anything else and just says, fuck it, it's good enough, whatever. Who the fuck cares? Government work. Yeah, it's good
Eh,
enough for government work.
it's good enough.
Anyway, so
Damn
no,
it.
I wanted to talk about what we're thankful for this year. I feel like that'd be a nice, happy thing to do. Then I'll let you guys go first. Whoever wants to go first can go first, and then I'll chime in with something horribly depressing.
Okay. Um, I guess I'm thankful that I have the ability that I have a full-time job and I'm at least able to start trying to pay off my unsurmountable debt.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good. That's
Me?
good.
Do I go now?
Yeah.
Well, so I've been on Facebook lately, and then we've got this like chat that we keep up with all of our friends from high school and everything. And I decided just for some reason recently to start scrolling all the way back through it and checking out all the old stuff. And that's when I realized a lot of our friends have moved away, and I haven't talked to them as often. But thanks to Facebook, I'm able to sort of keep tabs on them, and every now and then I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going? All the way over there in Texas, Covan," or and just I'm thankful that I'm still able to talk to you guys and still keep in touch with you. You guys are great.
Well, that's
And
really sweet.
decided to punctuate that with "Simple minds, don't you forget about me." If you edit that in there. So, go on.
no.
Copyright.
Copyrights.
Couldn't do that for copyright.
Oh,
I
yeah,
could sing
so
it
then
as
we
a
wouldn't be able
parody.
to. Then we couldn't. Then we wouldn't be able to, monetize this.
No, not at all. So, I'm thankful for a few things. I'm thankful for my new job. Even though I had to move 1,364 miles to get here and get promoted in my other job. I'm thankful for my friends and I guess my family or whatever. Who cares? It's family. Um, and there's one thing I was thinking about. I've been thinking about this kind of all week. And like I said, I'm going to bring this down to a really low note. It's really depressing when I say it to people, but I am really, really thankful I am not a husband and or father for the weirdest reasons. Because
Okay.
yeah, no, right? It's like I said, it's a weird downer note. It's very strange and out of left field. So I've been thinking about this all week, and I am horrible. I have crippling anxiety, um, and I've been thinking about this all week, and the fear, like husband, sure, I could deal with that. That's something I could deal with, whatever. But like being a father, because I talked to my dad or whatever. Like basically the entire fear behind just screwing your kid up, like just absolutely destroying your child from the ground up, like making every wrong decision. Because I totally would. I know I would. I would be the shittiest dad ever, like in the best ways.
Just make the opposite decision.
No, I don't do that. I just do whatever I want to do, and that's the problem. Like
Right.
I am wholeheartedly selfish when it comes to my free time. Like I could not give up my free time to a child. I already give up too much free time to work. Like I would be like, if I were to come home from work, let's say there's a kid, and it's like, all right, hey, you play with the child? I'm like, well, I could play video games with the child because I'm gonna play video games, and he can play with the fuck I'm playing, and that's it. And Daddy ain't gonna go easy on him because Daddy's had a long day at work, and Daddy's gonna crush his 6-pack while he fucking shoots some people on Destiny. So let's fucking do this, little Roderick, or the fuck his name's gonna be, William.
Roderick sounds good.
And he's like 2 years
Um,
old, and you hand him a controller.
right. That, or I lose my child. Like, I would lose a child. I lose so much shit. Like, at work, I get water bottles from work. I used to for all the time, and then I'll just lose that day. I'll lose them. I'll set them down somewhere. It'll be gone in 2 seconds, or I just forget. Like, I walk away and I forget, and then it's just gone. Like, I lose stuff all the time.
I think I
Five
It would
still
years
have the
later,
FedEx
hey,
water
didn't we
bottle.
have a kid?
Right.
Yeah, what happened
That's
to him?
that's in so many. It's a trope in so many comedy movies. I would live that, but it wouldn't be funny. It would be, oh God, I lost a child,
It'd be
because I
more
would
like
forget.
American Horror Story.
I guess
That's
I've
how-
never seen it.
It's a good show. But yeah,
That's right.
the latest season, the main character lost a kid.
Yeah, I don't remember when I saw it, but there was a news story about a kid getting left in a car till he died, because the parent thought it was with the grandparents, and the grandparents completely thought they left the kid in the car when they went into church,
That's fucked up.
because they thought it was at
Yeah.
home.
Well, maybe that child was a spawn of Satan. They couldn't bring it to church, but like, we still gotta go to church anyway. Either they gotta get their protections from the devil baby, and the devil baby can't step into church because it just starts melting or catches fire, or the building starts catching fire. So like, we can't bring this child into church anymore. It's obviously corrupted by Satan. You're gonna have to leave it outside in the car. And because his
Yeah.
fiery brimstone farts just heat the car to a bazillion degrees, probably suffocated himself with his fiery brimstone farts. It's just what happens.
Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with
Yeah.
that.
I mean, everyone knows that the devil children have fiery brimstone farts. Like, I don't.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I think you've been watching too much. Your pretty face is going to hell.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Don't lie.
Oh, wait, I do know what the fuck that is. I do actually know what the fuck that is. That's actually a really good show. I actually I enjoy that show. It's weird. I enjoy a lot of shows that I don't watch. Like, I
Yeah.
enjoyed Adventure Time. I've watched maybe like 4 episodes, and every episode I've ever watched, I really enjoyed. I just never continued watching it. Same thing with Rick and Morty. Like, Rick and Morty is a perfect example. Like, Adventure Time, I liked it, but I just never continued watching it. Rick and Morty, I absolutely love. I absolutely love that show. It is so funny. It's so fucking twisted, and it appeals to my sense of humor. Because my sense of humor is horrible. It's just god awful. I mean, I often joke with our friend David, who has cancer. Just on his fourth bout, that you have to be dead inside to be friends with him, because I just make fun of him having cancer constantly. And I know it helps. He's even said it helps him kind of cope with it. He makes cancer jokes all the time. Like, fuck it.
Yes,
He's
he
gonna make the
does.
jokes. I'm gonna make the jokes. Like, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I am without qualms going to make fun of anything I can even think of making fun of, especially if it's going to help someone. Like, yeah, let's do it. Fuck yeah. So like, Rick and Morty really appeals to that awful, just horrible sense of humor. It's not cringy, because I hate cringy humor. Like, cringy humor is terrible. Like The Office, god awful.
Come on. It's not that bad.
It's bad. Like, anything with Michael Scott in it is just garbage. Everything else, like the gym pranks, those are funny. Like, isolated. If they could show that movie in just like little gym clips, or little prank clips, or whatever, anything, literally just cut Michael Scott out of the show altogether, I'd be okay with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, how about like clips of actual people from YouTube doing Sonic impersonations with little
No.
Sonic plushies?
Nope. I know who you're talking about, and nope. Or,
Oh no,
what I-
there's multiple people I'm talking about.
Oh God, I thought there was only one, and now I feel
Go to Cringe
feel-
Channel.
I
Some guy-
will never. That if I could
Just-
shut down that site so you'll never go there again, I would.
It's a
Like
good
that.
site.
It's not like I don't understand the appeal of cringe. Like, you need to explain this to me. What is the appeal of cringe? Because
Do you
when
find
I,
it funny? Then you will. Do you find it funny?
no.
Then you will never understand it. It's like
well, that's
saying a joke that you find funny, and someone else doesn't, and you try explaining it, and they will never find it funny.
I mean, that's the thing. I get things like that. It's like someone explains a joke. Oh, yeah, I can see where that's funny. I get it. I can see the humor in it. There's juxtaposition, bait and switch,
I
punchlines. It
guess
conforms to a standard form of comedy where there's a witticism to it, even if it's retarded comedy. Like watching Jackass and some dude gets punched in the balls like 4 times. It's fun. I will laugh at that. Like I have laughed super hard
Yeah, I
at Jackass
can't really agree with that, but to each your own.
so.
because
Right.
that's
So
not cringy, but that's it's funny because it's absurdism in a pain way. It's like the Three Stooges on steroids. But when I see something cringy, it just makes me feel bad. Like every time
so
I see something
here's
that's cringeworthy, I'm just like, oh my god, that's just terrible. Like either I feel bad for the person, I pity the person, or I'm like, why the fuck do you exist? Do you have any self awareness whatsoever?
here is why I think some people, myself included a little bit, find it so appealing. It's because you see these people and they're doing all this weird stuff, and you think, before watching that thing, you think, oh man, I'm such a weirdo. That's why life is so hard for me, because I'm so weird. And then you see these people and you're like, I'm not a weirdo. Life isn't that hard for me.
I guess I'm self aware enough to understand that I'm a weirdo, but I'm not that weird. I guess I'm introspective enough to say, well, I know exactly how weird I am, and I know when to apply it and when it's appropriate, and I understand social cues enough. Maybe that's it. Like maybe I don't know. I'm so introspective that the idea that some other human being can't, I don't know, process that sort of introspective information in a way that allows them to understand that maybe going online and making little skits with Sonic plushies and making your own impressions of Sonic is not. I don't want to say normal. I don't really want to use the word normal there because
Or
that's
pretending
not
to
the
be
that's not the
a
best
crystal
term
gem.
for it. But that it's not embarrassing.
Or taking pictures of yourself in different positions and whatever, and inserting ponies into that, and adding captions like, I'm getting married to Fluttershy tonight. I
Right. Like
just
I just don't get where someone, and there are various mental disorders that will kind of let a person do that, and I understand that, and I'm not going to make fun of someone for that. And I'm not making fun of. I'm legitimately just posing a query. Like I just don't understand. And the only way, the only 2 ways I can get to it, there are 3 ways I can get to that, is 2 of them are tied together. One, the person has a mental condition, like let's say they're autistic or they have Asperger's or something that it's severe enough to a degree where they don't understand social cues. They don't understand, I don't know, societal norms to a point where they don't see what they're doing as strange. And I'm totally okay. Like I said, I'm totally okay with people doing whatever that makes them happy. Um, and I'm not gonna make fun of. I actually am gonna make fun of them for it because it's fucking silly. Um, but I'm making fun of the action they're taking and not who they are. Yeah, especially if I know they're autistic, I'm not gonna make fun of the fact that they're autistic. I'm gonna make fun of the fact that they're sitting there with fucking Sonic plushies in their goddamn underwear, and pretending that the Sonic who is them, is self-inserting into a story where they're gonna marry Fluttershy, is, you know, that's just fucking retarded. Um, and again, if you watched our last episode, I'm gonna use the words like retarded and gay because those are
it's
my
not
vernacular.
ableist.
It's not ableist because I don't use the word retarded to describe a retarded person. I use a retarded to describe idiocy or an idiotic person. I use the word gay to say that's fucking dumb. Like that's just the way I've been saying that since I was 8. I'm not gonna change it. And
If you're going to pander to people, then maybe you're just uncomfortable around disabled people,
right,
as
I,
South
I,
Park
I'm
puts it.
and that's a totally acceptable way to put it because I'm really sometimes, yeah, I get uncomfortable because it's hard to know how to act. It's hard to know what to say to not offend someone that is disabled because I really don't want to. Um,
Right.
but again, that's part of my vernacular. And I'm not which tying in, if you want to try and tie in, like if let's say you're on the internet and you hear this, you're like, oh, you said gay people are disabled. Like, no, that's not it. I'm just saying that this is a vernacular that's existed in my repertoire of words for 2 decades, and it's not going to change. Even if I want it to change, it's not going to change. So why bother? You either get on board with my vernacular or fuck it. Like, I don't care. If you can't have conversation with me where you understand that I might have different vernacular than you, then you obviously don't understand the English language or language in general. Anyway, moving on, because we had this discussion
Right.
yesterday.
Yes, I really have no opinions on this.
Well, you have
Right
no
now.
opinions on many things.
Mostly
So
talking
I
about the
just-
cringe stuff, not the
Yeah.
second
Oh,
part
yeah.
of that.
So I had the number two reason, because number one was these people are obviously disabled in some way, probably usually autistic is what my general layman diagnosis would be. Again, not a doctor. I don't know. Just guessing, because that ties my second reason why these people might just be emotionally underdeveloped. There are 9 stages in life. You experience, I think, 5 of them pretty early on, and then you get to 7 as you kind of get towards middle age. And the last 2, I can't remember what exactly they are.
Okay.
But you have various stages of development. I think 3 or 4 happen in the first few years of life. They might have missed some. And I actually, I went to therapy for many years, and I actually missed some growing up. I had various issues at home, and that happens where you miss some. And I was emotionally underdeveloped in some areas, and I went to therapy for years to kind of fix that. And these people might have similar issues, where they might have missed some development somewhere along the way, or they isolated themselves because they were slightly strange. This is actually something I it's kind of strangely part of the traditional nerd culture, kind of isolationism, where the traditional, like in the 80s, you think about like Weird Science, these weirdly really weird strange kids keep themselves do something weird in their computer with a bedroom, sorry, in their bedroom with a computer, and that's kind of what this is, like these people that'll go on the internet and make up fan fictions, where they make up their own custom self-insert pony to marry Rainbow Dash, but then they cheat on Rainbow Dash with, Twilight Sparkle, even though Twilight Sparkle's kind of a bitch, and then they end up making out with fucking Rarity or some bullshit. It's a shame that I know these words, but
It's a good. To be honest, it is a well-written show.
it
It is.
it definitely was. I stopped watching after season 2 just because I kind of just it got old.
Uh,
It
To
was
me,
ruined for me before I could ever watch it.
And that's
Do what?
fine. It was ruined.
Basically,
Oh,
the whole brony thing instantly meant I would never watch it.
And I didn't really care.
It's-
I was never a brony.
Unfortunately, Steven Universe is kind of approaching that territory. I think,
Hey, there's
although
a-
I watch it.
There's always going to be a show like that. But what was I saying? I forgot what I was
So,
saying.
why you don't laugh at cringe?
Oh yeah, like these people are. It seems that they're emotionally underdeveloped, and that's just they. Oh, nerd culture. That's what it is. Traditionalist nerd culture, where you're strange. You're out there. You're unaccessible to the masses as far as your psyche and your personality goes. You don't fit into a culture, which is where nerds traditionally used to revel. Is they kind of fit outside the culture. I mean, like think of the movie Revenge of the Nerds. That wasn't just a bunch of computer science majors that like to play video games and hang out with their friends. That was some straight up outcasts. And that's kind of
So-
what it seems to me that these people are, and it's hard to laugh at that because it's I don't know it, and usually I'm the kind of person that'll just jump straight on the fuck you. I'm gonna laugh at that because I don't give a shit if it's offensive, but it's just to me it's not funny, but it's not I'm not gonna not laugh at it because it's not or because it's offensive. I'm gonna not laugh at it because it's just I don't know. You're kind of laughing at traditionalist nerd culture.
So there is another type of cringe that's on the Cringe channel that is like pretty much made by the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Like one of the guys from what's it called? Jersey Shore,
Yeah.
JWoww or whatever. It was the Situation. Yeah, he
Yeah. Sure.
went on and roasted Donald Trump, and nothing he said was funny, and people eventually just started like throwing him people that he was making fun of threw him like little pity applauses. And then like no one was laughing. She got a good shot of Ice-T just like face palming, straight up face palming, and I think people started booing him off the stage. That
See,
was so cringy.
I could see something like that being funny. Like, to me, failure can be funny because it's kind of a traditional humor trope. You know, you have like slapstick and you have failure. Because like you watch old cartoons where you just see someone fail something repeatedly, like some guy slips on a banana peel, they just fail, and that could be kind of funny. Like if it goes on too long, it gets to the point where the novelty wears off, and then you're just like, oh god, like this is just awful. Just stop. Like how do you
Well,
not understand? Because then it just becomes an existential. You know how does this person not view their world and self
so
in this way?
Uh, yeah, he was. Most of his jokes were basically about how awesome he is and how much sex he has with all these different models, and they're just bad. But eventually, it did end on a funny note, but only because one of the guys, I forget his name. He's a really funny dude from New Jersey.
Mhm.
But yeah, he looks like just typical dumpy nerdy comedian guy. He rushed up there and said, "Hey guys, hey, you want to know what the real situation is?" And he lifted up his shirt and said, "That's why they call me the Saturation." And I was like, "Hey, that's pretty clever." And he just came up with that on the spot.
Saturated pets.
Yeah, so it ended on a pleasant-ish note and a
That's
very somewhat scary note because the Situation said, "If you run for president, I'll vote for you. Just saying." I'm like, yeah,
And that started the 2016 run for Donald Trump for president.
yeah. Okay, so
Fine.
enough
We're not
about
gonna.
cringe.
We won't get into politics because
No, no, no.
Let's
I'll
not do
go
that.
on. I'll go on forever and offend some people.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe a an election special later next year, but
Mm,
maybe not. Who knows?
maybe.
Maybe I'll
Let's
just
go
start my
on
own
to-
political podcast. Who knows?
Sorry, we stuck on too much to the whole cringe thing.
No,
You were talking about what you were thankful for, weren't you?
I already kind of answered that.
Okay.
We
So-
all pretty much did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember how we got to cringe actually.
Me neither. How
But I'm
about
rather tired too, so I don't think we
you
all
wanna go
are.
to Black Friday?
We,
I mean, we're all basically almost in a food coma. We talked about Black Friday.
we had
at the top.
talked about. It was first thing we did it reverse.
So there's something I was actually kind of mad about this week, right? Um, every single week, I look forward to watching my stories. All right,
Arrow?
I'm-
Flash?
Arrow, Flash, fucking my fucking Marvel, Agents of the fucking Shields. Every week, like I am like an old lady with her soaps. If I don't get my stories, I am livid. And I got home on Tuesday.
And there was
So excited. I even came home early because I'm like, I had a shitty day. When I come home early, I bought a 6-pack of beer. Like, I'm going to drink 3 of these beers and watch the show and pass the fuck out because that's what happens when you're an adult. It's really sad. Like, that's the highlight of your day is you drank 3 beers, watched 75% of a show, and passed out because life is hard and it slowly squeezes the life out of you. And there was nothing. There was no Arrow. There was no Flash. There was no Marvel, Agents of Shield. Nothing.
Yeah, they're all taking a week off, but there was a Supergirl.
I need to watch that. I watched the first 2 episodes of that show, and I did enjoy them. I need to actually. Well, okay, I enjoyed what I saw. because it was right when I got Destiny, so I was just playing Destiny nonstop, and I threw them up, and I'm like, I'll check these out, whatever. I don't expect. It's not on CW. It's not by the same writers, and I'm like, I'm kind of
It's
wary
produced
of
by
it.
the same people, though.
It's produced by the same people, but I don't think it's the same writers.
It's gonna cross over.
No.
No.
Not now, anyways.
Dumb.
But
I
well, there is hope. Excuse me, like there is
An
hope
arrow went
because yeah,
aeroplane.
I fell a great distance. That's what that was.
hmm
There was crossover from Constantine to Arrow. Now it was after Constantine had already been canceled. But since DC owned the property, I think they could just say, well, we're going to cross this over now. Now, hopefully, that being said, they're like, well, we had to put this a different network because they didn't have a time slot for it or whatever. Because that's usually what I'm assuming the reason why they just say, fuck it, we'll put it on a different network. I'm hoping they cross them over. Because,
the creators want to, but the main thing is the producer over at CBS is like, no, Supergirl's our thing, and it's a girl. It's actually a woman, so I don't know why I'm doing the voice.
maybe
Because
she can sound like
she-
that. Don't judge her based on her voice. Maybe she
Yeah,
has
exactly.
a deep gravelly voice. Maybe she's like Dr. Girlfriend.
Wow, don't persecute her, dude.
Okay,
Jeez.
anyways,
Come on,
So,
Bryce.
I-
actually
the first-
That's messed up.
they
haven't watched
actually
it.
switched episodes and showed the Thanksgiving episode last week, and showed the episode that was going to be on there. It's the one
That's
with
weird.
Livewire. It was okay. That's
Oh,
my
yeah,
opinion
so-
of it.
I don't.
That's a really good brand of Mountain Dew.
Yeah, when I
You don't know about the Supergirl?
have not watched
No.
Supergirl. I haven't watched Supergirl. So when you texted me, wow, Livewire, I was like, yeah, this is a great Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You
I had-
throw some vodka in there, throw a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
Make,
sorry. I should not have assumed you knew who Livewire was.
I do know who she is,
I think
but
that's 1/3 of Covan
That's-
Punch or
la-
whatever. 'Cause it's
last
like
time-
Livewire, vodka, and Red Bull.
last time I heard about Livewire was when the DC animated universe was still on.
Yeah, she
Doing
hasn't
their
really done much, but
in a comic. I didn't read it, but she was
Well-
in a comic before pre New 52, pre Flashpoint, pre Batman dying. And that was the last.
Wow,
I
that's a long time
saw-
ago. That was
Yeah.
2011.
it's
Uh,
just forever in comic book years.
It was
Yeah.
probably 2007, 2008 that I saw
thought-
that.
I thought Batman died. Well, yeah, I guess Batman died might have been.
Maybe it was 2009. Seriously, I can't remember.
It was probably 2008, 2009 that Batman died.
Yep.
Well,
no,
he didn't even
I meant
die.
that I saw Livewire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and
I think
so
he died in 2010.
you're just bringing up this. Oh Jesus, Spider. He's gone. So you just bringing up this villain I have not heard from in years isn't helpful. I'm sorry.
Well, Bryson is the master of no context. We'll often be in a conversation, and verbal, text, whatever. We'll be going through a conversation, talking about whatever, and we move on from our point. And Bryson, his brain just sticks. It just sticks in that point. It's like I gotta process this point. What about this? And it just goes on this string and tangent of a conversation that we're not on anymore. Like he exits another rail. He's like a train car behind us. We're all following the same track, leading the way, going with the flow, and he's just diverges on this other course that eventually ends up colliding with us somewhere down the road. And it's the same goddamn track as he was using before. So he'll just bring up a random sentence from a random conversation we were not involved in. He's like, yeah, I really did think that Supergirl was really good. And Bryson, we're talking about Fallout 2 days later. What the hell are you talking about? Not even just to say, hey, what'd you guys think? It was just literally he had the conversation in his head and would just come in and interject with a random sentence from that conversation to come back into it.
I try not to do it, but I do it.
You've gotten better at it, but oh my god, there
Yeah.
are some points where it's just yeah, and so eggs are really good, right? And then we're just what the fuck are you talking about? No one's talking about it. We talk about eggs Thursday, Bryson. It's fucking Monday. Come on. You gotta get with the fucking flow. I get it, whatever. Eggs are good. I do like eggs. I eat eggs almost every morning when I get home from
And I
work.
love boiling denim. And I love eating crabs. and I love banging whores.
What?
There, that was a little thing that you type of thing that you do. See, I made a connection in my mind. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. When you were talking it like that, like Danny DeVito saying, "I love eggs.
I love eggs. I can't do it.
Yeah, I
love
try not to do
boiling
it.
denim."
And I always try to make sure I give context, but sometimes I will forget.
It's all right. You know, it's a
Or I
personality
wouldn't
quirk.
think that you need to
So
know certain things.
here's a tip, and I'm gonna give this to you for free. All right,
Okay.
it's gonna solve your problems. And I'm gonna show you how it works. Right.
Okay.
So speaking of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I actually really want to like that show, but I just can't. Like every time I watch it, it's really cringy. Like it's really hard to watch, kind of like Louis, where it just
Hilarious.
it's hilarious. Oh my god, do I laugh at that? Like I haven't laughed at the show like that in a while, and I started watching and I just laughed and laughed. But then we get to the point where it's like the gang gets racist, and I'm like, oh god,
Okay.
that's really bad. Or like the gang, goes on welfare. And I'm like, oh shit, this is getting like it went from funny, like really absurdism, funny, just
Really dark humor.
it starts dark, and it's my brand of dark, where it's just terrible. But then it crosses into a line where it's almost not humor anymore. It's just being pure shit, and I can appreciate it. Like I really appreciate it. But it gets to the point where it stresses me out. I think that's why I don't like cringe. Cringe stresses me out to a point where I'm like, I can't watch this. I'm gonna have a panic attack thinking about all this horrible shit that some other human beings doing. My phone just went off. I should put that on silent. Um,
So, yeah. Anyways, Livewire is yeah, she's a good character.
oh, here.
S-
Sorry to interrupt, Kyle. I'll go back and mention something earlier. Another free point. This is how you interject into a conversation, Bryson, where you have a thought that isn't collided or isn't coherent with what the other person's saying. Like he's talking about Livewire, but now I'm talking about the thing we were just talking about before, where you can't bring a thought or string a thought into a connection of other thoughts that you
Okay.
had before. That's how you do it. It's like, oh yeah, hey, we were talking about this. Oh, this is what I think about this. Oh, we were talking about this before. You just gotta mention. You gotta give the context. You just gotta say, "Hey, we're doing this
Okay.
before."
I'll
You
try.
gotta,
Right.
you gotta bring us back to that headspace, Bryce. So we gotta be in that environment. We gotta be right there with you. You can't just drop into a novel and just start describing something. We gotta be there in the atmosphere, man. We can't just you can't describe a chair and not and the significance of the chair and have us care. You have to describe the significance in a broader sense.
Okay.
That's fair.
You-
No, found that funny.
I don't know. No. Kyle, you're like the anti-humor. You're like if a comedian
I love anti-humor.
sucked the humor out of a room, that's what you would be.
Yeah, I love it. What's worse than finding a worm in your apple? The Holocaust.
Yeah, see, anti-humor is funny in that regard, where, again, I keep using the word absurdism, and that's usually what I kind of use to describe, like, Japanese humor as absurdism.
Okay.
And absurdism can be funny when it's I don't know, not self-reliant. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-aware. When absurdism is self-aware and it becomes almost a sarcastic absurdism, like Always Sunny or that joke you just told, that's absurdism, but it's self-aware absurdism. I like self-aware kind of humor. My problem when I ever get recommended anime, I have a good friend Willow who recommends a lot of anime too, and I end up not liking some of it, or sometimes a good portion of it. Depends on how well she's hitting on the Justin likes this cylinders. Um, I just won't like some anime because it's absurdism, and she thinks it's funny because she likes that kind of humor. Um, I don't. To me, that doesn't carry over. I just, look at this wacky thing. I'm like, that's not funny. Oh yeah, absurdism. So,
Yeah.
what were you gonna say, Kyle? You had a point.
About anime? Yeah. So about the type of anime I watch. The two the two animes I really like are both on Toonami, and they are freaking amazing. They are. It's
Let me guess. What it is. One Punch Man.
no.
Fuck. Okay. Well, you threw me off. So okay,
Dragon
go.
Ball Z.
No, I already watched that when I was a kid, unabridged.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's
I
sort
actually
of a,
prefer the abridged version.
Kai's well,
yeah,
DBZ
everyone
abridged is
does.
good. But
watched
the
it
Kai
as a
version's
kid.
actually a lot better than the original version.
Right.
Yes.
And I understand and appreciate that, but I mean I already watched it when I was a kid, so I don't see the point in watching it again. I'm sorry.
Well, let me put it this way. It's the same exact point as you fucking playing old games over again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's I will absolutely rewatch a series. Like I just finished Yu Yu Hakusho. I've seen that series like 4 or 5 times now,
And
and I know it's gonna fucking happen. It's really good. I
Yeah,
know
it
it's
is.
gonna happen. Like I'll binge watch a show I've already binge watched. Like I've watched The West Wing all the way through, and I might do it again. I've been thinking about doing another run through of that show again. I've watched that show 3 times all the way through. One was kind of piecemeal. The other 2 were actually all the way through. That's a
Okay.
long series. I've watched Red
Yeah.
versus Blue hundreds of times.
See,
Okay.
I rewatched that with you, Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
It's
But-
just kind of the same thing, but there's no mechanics that. Oh, yeah, you're gonna hear me crack my knuckles. Oh god.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, and the other thing I can think about is that just Toonami needs a Dragon Ball show. It does. It's had one since like pretty much the beginning.
Um.
Dragon Ball Super will be out next year.
Yeah. Dragon Ball Super. They still
There
have
you
to
go.
finish Dragon Ball Kai. They have not actually finished translating Dragon Ball Kai.
Oh, they haven't.
They
Well,
have to
they
do the
had
last 2
Dragon Ball.
seasons.
They had Dragon Ball running alongside Dragon Ball Z in the older, back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that. That's actually where I first got watched Dragon Ball. I still haven't finished all of Dragon Ball. The only reason why I haven't, it's a really ridiculously long series.
If you count all of it, yeah.
The problem I had with it was that the files that I had, when I procured them in a way, they were dual audio and it defaulted to Japanese. So every single time I watch an episode, I would have to click over. And when I watch anime, usually I don't watch unless it's something I absolutely am captivated in, and it's something very interesting visually, and I need to absolutely see it. Like Shonen Jump anime, I don't. I just usually roll over and listen to it. And, I'll just lay in bed, or I'll just put it up on another monitor and listen to it. But it was really annoying. Every 20 minutes having to go switch a setting. I couldn't set it to default. The only reason why I haven't actually finished that show.
So, you still haven't guessed the 2 shows I watch.
I got nothing. Like I said, he completely threw me off.
And you? Bryson?
Cowboy Bebop.
No.
I don't
No,
know.
it's a beautiful show.
I don't know.
Is it on?
Is this like stuff that's on Toonami right now? Because I wouldn't know what's
Yes.
on Toonami right now.
Oh,
Unless you're talking
well,
about
that's too
Full
bad.
Metal Alchemist. That might
No.
be running.
No.
I don't know.
Parasite and Michiko and Hachin, or otherwise known as Michiko to Hachin or Mishiko I Hachin, if
I
you want
have
to pronounce it in
Never
Portuguese.
heard of either of those.
Well, Portuguese is wrong. Toe is actually
Portuguese
just
is freaking awesome.
Portuguese is like a dick. It's like shitty Spanish.
Brazil is like the greatest country I've ever visited, including America and Canada.
You take that back, or I swear to God, I'll drive up there and kick you in the balls with my goddamn freedom boots.
It might just be his
Okay,
plan.
okay.
I will kick you in the balls so hard your sperm starts singing Star Spangled Banner out of the fucking roof of your mouth.
So, Michiko and Hachin is a story that takes place in Brazil, and it has had more nosebleeds than I've seen in any anime, and that's saying a lot because I used to watch harem animes. But all of these nosebleeds are, yeah, I know, it's okay. I grew up to be a better
It's
person because
hard
of
not to
avoiding it.
accidentally watch a little bit of harem. Because
Because they're
a lot of shows have a little bit of harem.
and of course
It's-
because it's
that's
so
true.
shitty.
Like, I'm watching the
Japan just
Asterix
piles it
Wars right now, and while it's not exactly a harem, it does have a male protagonist that does have multiple females who are potential love interests.
Oh god. So
That's a harem.
Michiko
That is-
Tohachi.
Shonen Ai. What's-
Mishiko Iachin. That like I said, it has so many nosebleeds. But like, first nosebleed I saw was because a lady took a giant bottle of whiskey or rum or cachaça and just like smacked it across Michiko's face, and then slammed the bottle straight into her nose. And then we just saw blood coming out, and
Well, that's
then the
different.
second time,
It's
yeah,
not
the second
right.
time I saw it, I saw nosebleed was some guy was like seeing this trunk just shaking around. Then he like leaned in really close, and Hachin just like burst out of the trunk. Didn't realize the guy was there. Just kicked the trunk open, slammed right into the guy. Blood sprayed out of his nose, fell on the ground, passed out.
That's completely not what
That is nose bleeding. It's
it is.
bleeding out of the
Nosebleeding,
nose.
but not in the context of normal anime
It's
nosebleeding.
better.
Not no. It's you're not making the point though. Of it's not because we're talking about absurdism.
Right, here's what I'm trying to say though. Both Parasite and Michiko and Hachin have no absurdism. Any
Uh,
sort of comedy is practical, I guess you can say. Like, Parasite is. I started thinking about it this way, and it really sort of came off as pretty. Like, it engaged me more. Parasite is basically Japanese Spider Man.
okay.
And I can't tell you all the reasons why without spoiling a little bit of it, but it is, it's basically a kid gets a superpower in his hand, and
Jerk off super
eventually,
fast.
what?
He just fucking smacks his meat faster
No,
than
he fell
any
asleep.
person ever.
He fell asleep with earbuds in, and these like little
Oh
worm
yeah, he fell
things.
asleep with the earbuds in. He rolled over on his hand, and then he woke up and he had morning wood. He's like, well, maybe I'll just gonna give this a rub down. And his superhero name is the Stranger. I get it. Yeah.
Is that what Superman, or is that what Spider-Man is to you?
Some kid who rolls over with a sleep hand and jerks off because it feels like someone else is touching it. Yeah, sure, I
Yes.
guess that's
Oh my
exactly what I
God,
think
you are a
Spider-Man is.
sicko.
Yeah, because then you just take the kind of dead, limp, lifeless hand, and you just come into it and just throw it on someone's face. And that's Spider-Man.
You're a terrible person. So
Yeah, yeah.
those
Uh,
two have none of the whole like eyes or like blah sort of streamy tears. Oh, kang
yeah,
kang.
yeah.
None of that crap, and I love that. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
there's plenty of anime out there that don't do that. Like, you have
I
Cowboy Bebop. I think it does a little bit here and
yeah,
there. I'm okay with a little bit here and there. You
Cowboy
have the
Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. If you watch Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night, Fate Stay Night's really good. Fate Zero is also incredibly good.
I couldn't bring myself to care about anyone in Fate Zero, but that might be because I didn't watch Fate Stay Night
Fucking,
first.
I didn't watch Fate Zero is the first one I watched. And if you didn't like Ryder, you are
Okay, he was fine, but I mean, it's
Ryder was almost the
I just
entire
kinda
reason I
got
watched
bored.
this show. And
Yeah,
then fucking Kitagaya becomes so compelling. I normally don't talk about anime in this way. I'm usually the person that's shitting on anime, but Ryder was probably the best reason to watch that show because he was the most boisterous, amazing. He basically was like America if America were a person. He was awesome.
I may have
He
just
wanted to
not.
rule the world. Like that was his whole. He wore a picture of the globe on his chest, and he's like he wanted to rule the world. That was it. He wanted to rule the world. He was awesome. He had a
so
fucking flaming chariot. He was the coolest dude. He was a big, muscle bound, jolly drinking behemoth of a man. He was hilarious and awesome. And then completely opposite of that, you had a dude that was actually very serious, and it was a fairly interesting sub. Like it was actually a really good anime, and normally I won't say that about anime when it comes to the way the plot structure works because it's usually very very simple, and this one was actually fairly complicated, and had a lot of moving parts. Usually there's only like two moving parts, and they explain away all the other cliffhangery bullshit with like fucking. There's something with Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean I wholeheartedly understand it's a shonen anime. They explain away every cliffhanger and/or crisis point with a flashback. Say, "Oh yeah, and totally, we solved this before. Thank God this happened
Oh,
before."
yeah, in Bleach, there's an entire arc where they flash back to stuff that happened to explain things.
Yeah, and I'm told I understand it. Again, it's garbage anime. It's fun to
um,
watch. It's fun to consume. It's like McDonald's. Like you're not
so
gonna
this
watch it for
this
substance.
actually brings me to polar opposite of what I just said. So, uh, I'm sure most people who are fans of anime know the Gundam series.
Yes.
And
Possibly.
the two that I really tend to talk about are Gundam Wing and G Gundam, because
Gundam Wing,
they're
I can get behind you on G Gundam. I don't know if I can get behind you on G
Gundam
Gundam.
Wing is total crap.
I
It
like
sucks.
Gundam
Yeah, it's
Wing,
garbage.
but
Yeah,
Look,
you
that might be
like
through
all the
rose-tinted
guys being
glasses.
Gary Stews except for
totally.
Duo. Everyone is a
Yeah.
Gary Stew
Yeah,
except
pretty
for
much.
Duo and Hiro, who
I-
happens to be a mega Gary Stew. Duo is a likable character.
I
G
haven't
Gundam
watched
is
the
that
show in years, though. Is the other thing.
it sucks.
It's awful. It's
Although
terrible.
I
and
still
the
remember
whole
that.
explaining what?
I was gonna say I still remember I explained the newest series, then newest series to Kovan about the Space Pope and everything, and you were like, "Nope, never watching."
Oh yeah, no, it was fucking garbage. Like I would never watch that.
It's
ever
actually
in
interesting,
years.
but
So, but
Your
yeah,
interesting and my interesting are two completely different things.
G Gundam. When I was growing up, I just sort of like thought G Gundam was like, oh, okay, it's whatever. Didn't really watch it. I wish I did though, because of Chibbity freaking Crockett.
Jiminy Crockett is the most American thing to happen in anime or in anything
Yeah.
ever. He is by far the greatest character ever made because he is
When-
normally I'm like, oh yeah, that's like racist, fucking making fun of America.
Yeah,
no,
nationalist. I was like that too when I first saw him. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's terrible that Japan would do that to us. But no, I watched that and I was like, well, okay. The only, I guess, downside is that he's kind of arrogant. And then I thought about it. I was like, he's not arrogant. America's the greatest country ever.
right.
yeah, I think I would appreciate G Gundam a lot more if I
Oh my god,
rewatched
it was so good. Like Scott
At the
and I-
time, it was a very much a, oh well, that's not Gundam Wing to me.
See, like I liked Gundam Wing when I first watched it. I was really into Gundam Wing. But do you want to know why I was really into Gundam Wing? Because it was the only Gundam show that was on at the time. And then after Gundam Wing,
Most of the other ones are better.
I watched the original Gundam, which is even worse. It's fucking garbage.
Most of it is actually, yes.
It's
gets-
entirely garbage.
It
There's a
starts getting
couple of
better
good-
in Zeta.
Like Char's Rebellion, I think was decent, but that was a movie. Like
Uh,
other than that, the whole show was it was 80s Transformer-esque bullshit.
Don't like Zeta? Have you actually watched Zeta?
Probably not. Who the fuck knows? But I'm saying the original Gundam was garbage. I
Yeah, that
didn't
was
talk.
the 70s.
Yeah, I just explained why.
You
It
said
was
Transformers 80s.
I
See, the thing is,
I didn't say that it took place in the 80s. I said that's the theme. That's the
Okay.
feel that it gives off.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like, oh,
of course
it's just to shill fucking toys.
yeah, here's the thing, and that's what it was. The thing about Gundam, and I do actually like that show, and I will agree though that a lot of it isn't very good. But there are a lot of good things in the original Gundam, too. But the thing about it you got to remember is it's the transition point. The original Gundam is a transition point between these absurd, like weird super robot anime and a more realistic robot anime, mecha anime. It's where the modern mecha anime was born. It started more towards the hero robot thing.
Yeah,
And
you
it
know
kinda-
what? I think we just need to get rid of anime or get rid of Gundam at all and just fucking bow down to the holy feet of Big O.
I have not watched that, I don't think.
Oh my God, what is wrong
It's-
with you? That is
because
it's
I
like
haven't
Batman
watched
meets
Batman
a
and
lot
a
of
giant-
things.
yeah, it's Batman meets Gundam. That's what it is. Like entirely Batman meets Gundam, and there's no better way to explain it because it is the most perfect show. Like it's complex in a lot of ways. I mean, it's still anime, so in a lot of ways it's very very simple. It's got kind of a couple of running plot lines, plot threads, and they kind of get solved. And there's procedural episodes where he kind of just fights the big monster of the week, but usually it kind of all ties into the central storyline, and it's a mystery. Like he's trying to solve this mystery of basically this existential mystery of why am I here? Who am I? What is this? What was my actual purpose? And they never like he kind of says it directly a few times here and there, but it's never really. Other than that, I guess it is directly implied, but other than that, like you kind of have to go along for the ride, and it's beautiful. It's an amazing anime. It's an amazing show. Honestly, it's an amazing story. Like there's certain classifications you can throw in to say something's good. So you can say, oh yeah, it's really good for an anime. Like there's certain shows that are really good for an anime. Like Sword Art Online, it's pretty good for an anime. If I were to compare it to another show that had a really complex and deep and rich and well thought out
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah, if I were compared to
Yeah,
Batman
pretty sure.
Beyond,
Batman
just
Beyond's a lot
comparing
better
to
than I give it
animation,
credit for.
Batman Beyond's really really good. But when I broaden the scopes to just animation in general, Batman Beyond is much much better. But then you go Batman Beyond's really good for animation. So you take it a step further and like you talk about the Flash. The Flash is really good. It's not just really good for a superhero show. Like Marvel Agents of Shield is really good for a superhero show or a comic book show. The Flash is really good for a show. Like it tells a lot of compelling storylines and plot. It creates all these plots that are very very compelling. In general, it's just
I
a good.
started listening to Fat Man on Batman, by the way.
Oh my God, yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, he was talking. He was just splurging on the Flash, and it made me appreciate the show a little bit more when he was
Yeah.
like. And then I got a little bit teary-eyed
Oh,
when in the second one they introduced a new way to bring in villains, the multiverse.
I
I was
literally
like,
when
that
they did
was
that
genius.
when they did that in the show, I about creamed my panties. It, at that point, like, oh my God, I couldn't. I literally I cheered. Like I rarely emote at television. Like I've always felt so out of place. Like when I'm watching football with people, and they're like, yeah, he scored the points. I'm like, he's going to be excited about it, but I'm reserved. I feel like I somehow was raised by British people, even though I know I wasn't. I'm a very reserved or kind of held back person when it comes to stuff like that. But I literally cheered, and then like I think I messaged you, Kyle. I feel like I did, or I meant to. I know I immediately
Yeah,
thought of you
yeah.
when it was Jay Garrick popped up. I'm like, oh my fucking Jay Garrick, you're two, holy shit! Like
Yeah.
was actually invigorated and excited. And I actually cheered at my television or my computer because I was watching it on my Hulu account on my computer um, at that show. And that's something like Big O is a good it's a good story. Fucking Cowboy Bebop is a good story. It's not just good for an anime. You take like Gundam. It's like, hey, it's good for a mecha anime. Gundam G, like it's good for an anime. Like Gundam G, yeah, sure. If I hold it up to a candle of just being a good story, yeah, there's a lot of holes in it. There's a lot of shit with it. Like I take shonen anime, I classify it so I can say this is good for this. I could say Bleach is it's good for a Shonen Jump anime. Whatever. It's a pile of shit if you want a robust story with a lot of really rich and well thought out plot lines. No, not at
To
all. Bleach
compare
is
it to Breaking
fucking
Bad.
yeah. You can't compare it to Breaking Bad, and not
Most
it doesn't
anime you
even
can't compare to Breaking Bad.
right.
Yeah.
I still haven't finished Breaking Bad because that show stresses me out on a whole new level.
Yeah. Same
I
with
already
my
know how it
dad.
ends,
Actually,
though. Unfortunately,
I watched it all the way through, and it ends so
I
well.
watched
But
the
if
film
you
theory
can't,
on it.
if it stresses you out, it'll really stress you out before it
Oh yeah.
satisfies you.
Like
But
I got to the mid season. I'm sorry. I got to the mid season finale in that show, and then I had to stop. I had to. I couldn't.
yeah.
I couldn't take it. Like right when he finds that
So,
book. I know you know what I'm talking about. Right when he finds that
oh,
book, I'm just like
yes, yes.
I literally I shut it down. I'm like done. I can't watch it. I started having like a panic attack. Actually, the same thing happened to me when I was reading Game of Thrones. I finished the third book of Game of Thrones or Song of Ice and Fire. I finished the third book and it kind of gets this critical point, this climax point, where a lot of bad
Red
shit
Wedding?
happens. Huh?
Oh,
I think the Red Wedding was in book three. Yeah.
yeah.
And just a lot of shit happens. Like
I know too much about that wedding.
I read the books, so I know everything there is to fucking know about that wedding.
I figured it out
So,
because I watched the Disney Red Wedding by accident,
Good job.
and it's pretty easy to figure out what's actually going on if you know the show a little bit.
But yeah, so like
yeah.
I actually I took me like a year to read the fourth book because I had to calm down. I had to stop being so stressed out about it. But anyway, continue what you're gonna say, Kyle.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to Gundam Wing because I didn't get to say all the stuff that like why it's so bad anime. All I said was like it's filled with Gary Stews and Duo.
Yeah.
Duo is the only good character. I found out later that he was the one that was supposed to appeal to American audiences. I was like, that's really insulting to anyone who's not American.
Right,
Um,
he's a good character.
Yeah, so like one of the first arcs involves Hiro shooting an unarmed teenage girl with the intent to kill her.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
like, this is the bad guy, right? No, we're supposed to root for him. He's the good guy,
Then yeah, he's a
and
good
I
guy.
was just like baffled by this. I was like, why? And then after that, Duo shoots him, and I'm like, yeah, that's the good guy. But then later, Duo for some reason breaks him out of the hospital. I'm like, why did you do that? Did you want to like shoot him some more? Because I totally get behind you on that.
Yeah. I
And
need to
then
break out of prison so I can murder you harder.
so Duo escapes with this completely impractical like Kane helicopter thing. But I was like, whatever. Hiro escapes by jumping out of the building with the intent of landing face first into like the pavement below. And then like someone yells for him. That one teenage girl he tried to shoot, who I guess somehow probably ended up getting what's it called? That one.
PTSD?
No. What's that syndrome? Something syndrome.
Stockholm?
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. I think she
Okay.
got Stockholm syndrome because she is like after Duo shot Hiro, she jumped on to him and was like, "No, don't kill him." I was like, "He tried to kill you for no goddamn reason," and she kept trying to protect him, which just it defied all logic. But anyways, yeah, she
That's
called to
heavy.
him, and then Hiro was like he just like woke up or something because he fell asleep at midair. Once again, planning to splatter onto the pavement because that's what would logically happen. But then no, whatever. He pulled his parachute and then landed safely, and it's like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, yeah, you should have. No, you shouldn't have. We don't want to see you anymore in this. I would have enjoyed watching you splatter onto the goddamn pavement.
Yeah,
Just spray everything with your guts.
he was a
God.
piece of shit. He was a big piece of
He
shit.
was.
All I really
And he's
remember,
not the
honestly, at this point is the song they played in Endless Waltz.
I vaguely remember Endless Waltz. I was so excited for Endless Waltz because at that time I really, really enjoyed the show. I watched Endless Waltz, and I don't remember Endless Waltz at all. I just remember it featured Epion really heavily.
I like
That
the
was
ending of Endless Waltz. It's like, we're never gonna have war anymore. Let's destroy them. Boom.
Yeah, I think I remember that too. Yeah, let's destroy all the Gundam.
Like,
Like,
any
let's
Gundam
finish-
series
Oh, I do remember
ever
that. And
war never
let's see.
stops.
The other guys that were in it were one of them was like he had like a ponytail and he was apparently Chinese or something and he was incredibly
Yeah.
sexist.
Yeah.
You mean
He was like, "She,
Wu Fang,
oh my
Wu
God,
Fang?
why is that lady driving
Fang,
straight into
something.
that building? Because she's a woman." Yeah, whatever. Hey,
I mean,
hey.
obviously.
He said something like, "Because she's a woman." Like, why is she dying so easily? Because she's a woman. He said something like that. I don't remember the entire context, but it was something bad happening, and he's to this poor woman, and he said, "Oh, it's because she's a woman." And I was like, "Oh my God, what is? Are we supposed to be rooting for that guy too?"
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, and then there was the guy with like the emo haircut or whatever. He joined the circus, and then people started saying, "Wow, he's really good at this circus thing." But too bad he always leaves constantly to do something. And then he found out he was fighting in his Gundam, and I was thinking like, so we know that he's a really
Trey.
good circus performer. Yeah, we know that he's really good at
Troy,
as a
sorry.
circus. We know he's a really good circus performer because we were told he was. Do we ever get to see him do this stuff? No. We never
Like
get to see
twice.
him be a great person. Yeah, they just tell us like, yeah, you're a really good circus performer. His personality is very good too. He's a nice person. Like that's all they do is they tell. It's
Yeah,
a
they don't really
difference.
like to show.
Yeah. So that is just a horrible anime.
It's all exposition, no action. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I think the reason why it's so lauded as a brilliant anime is because of that. Because the audience doesn't, I don't think they understand proper storytelling. They think that because there's so much exposition and there's so much dialogue, kind of explaining things, and that's kind of a common thread in anime I've seen. There's a lot of explaining everything and kind of giving that exposition to a fault. Makes it seem smarter when it really, in all honesty, just hinders the flow of the plot.
Right.
You know, you have, like you just said, you have a situation where it's like, well, yeah, we're talking about this all the time. You never really see it. They're not showing; they're just telling.
Right.
And if anything, what a movie is show and tell. And it's a much harder medium than a book because like a book, I was thinking about this the other day too. You have this free range because I listened to the Ender's Game audiobook on the way down to Texas on my drive, and then I watched the movie when I got back down here because I was really really kind of obsessed with it. And I listened to another. I think I listened to a second Ender's Game book at some point. I really should download the rest of them and read them or listen to them. Because I really like the person that narrated the first one. Actually, the reason why I haven't done it is because I really, really like the person that narrated the one that I read or listened to, but I don't think he does any of the other ones, and it'd be weird for me if I listened to the other ones.
Yeah, that is a
Anyway,
problem.
I digress. That's why actually I like Mark Thompson doing Star Wars because
Oh, he's awesome.
he's fucking wonderful. Oh my god, so good at everything, all the voices. Um, but no, what was I saying?
You were
Talking
saying
about Ender's Game.
Ender's Game.
Oh yeah, yeah. The inherent problem with the movie, it's a very faithful adaptation from movie to book or book to movie. If you read the book, because they pretty much just give you all of the show scenes in the movie, and they don't give you anything to tell because all the tell is inner monologue, and occasionally they have conversations that kind of cover it with exposition driven conversations where they kind of cover that information, but so much of that book is inner monologue of Ender that you lose all of the charm and all of the pull of that book turning into a movie. It turns from this philosophical actually really okay, so the book, if you guys haven't read it, or anyone listening to this hasn't read it, the book kind of starts off with this kid. He's like 6 years old. He has to go to battle school to learn how to strategize and fight and become an officer in the military because they're waiting for evil aliens called the Buggers to return, and they have to fight them. And it starts off in this kid's head, kind of just dealing with like a bully situation and kind of thinking about that, and it's kind of small time like that. And then he gets up into battle school, and it starts off. You can compare it to World War One. Like it's a perfect comparison to World War One in the sense of how jaded you are with war. You kind of start off with petty squabbles. They're pretty bad, but they're not life threatening yet. And then you get to a point where you kind of have to engage in combat, or you think about combat. It's all a game, and you have to strategize. And yeah, it sucks, but you have to strategize. But then soon, you kind of start to realize how terrible it is, and it kind of just wears you down. And by the end of the book, like Ender is just worn down. He's jaded and worn down. He's like a grizzled war veteran. Like there's literally scenes where, if you were to take out that this kid was like 9 years old in these scenes, you could have easily said this guy was a 28-year-old war veteran, and it would have been just
War
as
veteran?
impactful. War veteran.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I've read the book, but I knew a lot of the details when I watched the movie. And I came out of the movie my opinion was basically, I think this is probably about the best you could expect.
Well, that's the thing. It was an incredibly faithful adaptation. It showed every single scene that you needed to show. It covered almost every single scene that was in the book. I think it cut out one or two characters here and there. I think it cut out his siblings, I think, which were a big part of the book. But they were a big part of the book in a way that they set up the rest of the franchise. And cutting them out of the movie kind of cut out the hope section. Because I can't really, if someone hasn't read it. I mean, it's a 30-year-old book at this point. I think it came out in 1980 something. But if you cut out the brother and sister, you kind of cut out the hope portion, which kind of gets to World War One. Once World War One ends, there's this overly utopian, and this is how the book ends. This is overly, and I know that's not what Orson Scott Card was going for. He was going for more of a Jesus-y thing, I think. But you get to this hopeful point where it's very utopian. We're not going to have war anymore. We're going to change the everything, the world, the way we think about ourselves.
There is one thing I actually want to talk about with that. Want me to go?
Yeah, I stopped
Okay.
talking so you can
Oh,
talk.
okay. Well, I thought you were gonna continue, but anyways, so there's a thing I tend to notice around the internet and stuff is that people will stop enjoying a piece of art that they enjoyed previously um, if the person attached to it has political views that have nothing to do with this work of art, has political views that go against their own. So there are a
So
lot of people who are, for using Ender's Game as an example, a lot of people enjoy Ender's Game, but then they decided to hate Ender's Game after they found out Orson Scott Card is very anti gay. He's very much against the LGBT community.
and I'm totally with those people in not liking Orson Scott Card as a person. I absolutely love him as an author. I think he's a brilliant science fiction author. I love his work. Um, and yeah, I don't agree with him at all. If he
Right.
continues to write and I continue to consume his work, that's one thing. I'm not gonna not support the guy just because he has a particular political view that's not with my own. I guarantee there's authors I read all the time that we don't agree on a lot of political things. In fact, we might be completely opposite. I think it's a really immature thing to say. Like if a company comes out and says that, I can kind of see saying, okay, we're not going to support that company. Like when we had the Chick-fil-A thing, I could totally, if Chick-fil-A is like, fuck gay people,
Yeah.
I would totally boycott them. Like, fuck you guys. I'm not going to give
Yeah,
you my
but
money.
that's not art.
That's
So
not art,
right,
right?
it's a business.
Art can come from anywhere, and you can still enjoy it. I can still enjoy a Chick-fil-A sandwich, but I'm not going to support their business because their business has an active role in, you know, oppressing another group of people. I'm sure Orson Scott Card probably has donated to campaigns that are against LGBT people,
So
but I'm not supporting
um,
him. I'm supporting his art. When you go to Chick-fil-A, you're not supporting the sandwiches. You're supporting the business, and that's the difference.
right, and I've seen a lot of people do this with Pogo as well. Pogo's a musician who tends to do like what I think people call it glitch hop or glitch music or something. He just like remixes these really chilled out tunes of Disney, I think Muppets. He a bunch of different things. Adventure Time, I believe he did as well.
Sure.
Just all this different stuff. And it's absolutely amazing. But I have never seen an entire fan base go from like full support to full rage and hatred before I saw this. Pogo decided to give his 10 cents on the whole feminism, on the new wave of feminism.
Sure.
And he's very much against it. Um, I
Which
I
he
don't think
has
he
every
went.
right to be. He
Yeah.
might be
Oh
wrong,
yeah.
but he has every right to be.
I
Oh,
don't remember
hang on.
what exactly he
Oh
said.
god, audio is gonna be terrible right there. My
I
mic got
think
in
he
my
was.
beard. I didn't even notice.
So I don't think he went like full MGTOW or whatever, MGTOW, men going their own way. He didn't do that. I think he just went MRA, men's rights activist. So
Which I don't like that either, but still.
it's better than MGTOW. I mean, I'm not a men's rights activist. I'm not trying to say that, but if I was going to advocate for something positive about MRA, they're not MGTOW. MGTOW, they're the guys that are like, women only care about money and resources from men, and everything they do is for men, and that's when you got to be careful because holy crap, they're dressing up really nice. They definitely want something from you, and that's MGTOW, men going their own way. Um, so, but Pogo, so he released this thing, and then everyone was like, "Oh God, Pogo sucks. I can't listen to his music anymore." It's like his music is free, like on YouTube. You're not really like. I don't think he's getting that much money from you, unless, yeah, no, I think he has ads just turned on and stuff.
Still not a lot of money.
Yeah, so you're not really like being deprived of his music is like, I don't know, it's not really going to hurt him or whatever. If you enjoyed it before, you can still enjoy it. Just, I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, it comes to a point where people just don't understand that they're supporting the art and not the artist. And then there's some situations where I want to support the artist, like indie developers. I will buy almost every humble indie bundle that gets put out. I'm not necessarily going to play those games. I basically buy them so I can donate to charity. I really should write that kind of stuff off, but I don't. Sorry, I had to yawn.
No,
Which means we should probably wrap up soon.
yeah.
And B, I'm actually supporting the artists because I'm not going to play their games. I'm really not. I don't care. But
I play
I want
some of them.
I'll play
Yeah,
one or two
indie
here and
games are
there,
fun.
especially if I buy a humble indie bundle for the purpose of actually getting a game. But for the most part, I just kind of leave it alone. I'll buy the games and then just not even bother with them.
Yeah, because I played a ton of Dungeons of Dragonborn when I got that one. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I played not Dungeon of Grimrock, Legend of
Oh,
Grimrock.
I have them both. They're pretty good.
I played the ever living bejesus out of Legend of Grimrock, which is a really tough dungeon crawler. Really tough. But other than that, like I think that might be one of the very few games I bought in a humble indie bundle that I've actually played, which is kind of sad. But I'm supporting the artist, not the art. In a different case, like if I'm going to listen to music, I'm supporting the art, not the artist. The artist can feel free to keep making that kind of art, and I'll keep supporting that art. But I don't really care about the artist themselves. If they have a shitty political opinion and they make good art, I'm gonna jump on that art because I like it, I enjoy it. That's it. And that's kind of not a cult. It's not an American culture anymore. In American culture, everything has to be pure. And if that person isn't pure, then suddenly you're not going to get art from that person because they're going to be restricted in some way.
Yeah. So, just if someone makes a creative work of art, you should just support them. If they have you should support their art. If they have political stances you don't agree with, ignore them. Just maybe block out all political stances from. No, I don't think you can really do that.
No, you can't.
But I don't know. David Draymond is also super libertarian. I still enjoy his music. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I am as far as political stance goes, but
you can be whatever you want.
yeah. But yeah, he's super libertarian. Oh, the other thing I saw people do is there was at least one guy who absolutely raged against how much he hated Firefly because Adam Baldwin is a libertarian.
Really? Just
Yeah.
really?
Well, I feel like that's a common fact. Everyone should know by now that he's libertarian.
Yeah, he's a very outspoken libertarian, but hating Firefly because of that. I mean, come on. Nathan Fillion is in it as well, and he's not a. I don't know any sort of political thing attached to Nathan Fillion aside from supporting Canada, being Canadian. He is, but whatever. He's
right.
Firefly is fantastic, and Joss Whedon is very liberal, very progressive, I guess. Very not on pretty much the other side of the spectrum, but the two of them still get along. They're still friends. So if the two of the people in this work of art you're looking at, this creative work, if they can get along, maybe I don't know. Maybe you can just put it in the back of your mind.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's
time to say goodbye.
Yep. Mostly because, I've been up since 4 a.m. and before that I was up pretty darn early. Other than that, and I've been up all day cooking. I'm very, very tired.
Okay. Have a good night. And goodbye, everybody.
Hey, hopefully there's more than 10 listeners. So, for our 11th and on listeners, good
Hey,
night.
any improvement?
Yeah,
Yeah.
any improvement's good improvement. Tell your friends. I guess like and subscribe. I really don't like saying that because I have to hear it so much, but please do. Um,
And if
Hopefully
it's your
soon.
birthday, happy birthday.
If it's
Kidikers.
birthday, yeah, there you go. I don't know what the fuck that means, but whatever.
Kidikers says that.
We will hopefully soon have a website in which we can, do actual things and release this to iTunes. And we'll have some probably pretty good news, or pretty big news come up next week, if not the week after. So, yeah, that's all I got. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.